Welcome everyone to the part 4 or the day 4. We have been solving the LeetCode 50 problems on the SQL. Today we're going to talk about some advanced queries on the select and the join. If you have not seen the last few videos, please go back, watch all those things, because these are the actual problems which you are going to encounter in the interviews or the real world scenarios. So let's get quickly started on this day 4 where we're talking about the complex select and the join queries. Let's get started. So now today we'll try to solve the few advanced select and joins problem. Let's quickly get started with the first problem. Let's click on this. So the first problem which is there on the screen, it says that the number of employees which report to each employee. So typically it's an office data in which I would like to know that for a given employee, how many employees are reporting to him. Okay, so for us the input table which has been given is this employee table, and which has a column called as employee ID, name, reports to, and age. Fair enough. If I scroll down, the further information which I have is employee ID is the column with the unique values. So this column that I have has a unique value, so it might act like a primary key. This table contains information about the employees and the ID of the manager they report to. Some employees do not report to anyone. Okay, so in that case, the value of the reports to will be null. Fair enough. If I go down further, for this problem, we will consider a manager and employee who has at least one employee reporting to them. Cool. Write a solution to report the IDs and the names of all managers, the number of employees who report directly to them, and the average age of the reports rounded to the nearest integer. Okay. Return the result table ordered by employee ID. The result table is in the following format. So for example, if I go and see this table and analyze this is employee ID, and he does not report to anyone, so it is null. 6 reports to 9, so it means that 6 manager is 9. 4 reports to 9, so 2 does not. So out of this employee, only this one employee called as 9, which is the manager, and it has 2 reportees, right? So in this case, if I have to go and write, what will happen? I'll have to go and write the 9, right? His name is Hershey. Number of reports count is typically equals to 2, and the average age, so 6 and 4, 41 plus 36. So 41 plus 36, if I go and see, it will be 77, and if I go and divide by 2, it will be somewhere around 38.5, right? And if I go and round off, then it will come out to be 39 itself. Cool. Hershey has 2 people report directly to him, Alice and Bob. Their average age is 41 plus 36 divided by 2, which is 38.5, which is 39 after rounding it to the nearest integer. Cool. So I have understood the question, and it seems to be pretty easy now, but I will urge you folks that you should pause the video here, try to write the query, solve it yourself. And once you are done, please come back and see if your answer is same. Let's get started. So what I'll do here is, in this problem statement, if I go and look around, so this single table itself, and I have to take the multiple informations, right? So what I can do is, I'll have to do some self join here. Let me reduce the sign here on the left hand side. Okay, so let me go and write select. We're going to call it e1 dot employee underscore id, comma e1 dot name, comma count e2 dot employee underscore id, and we're going to call it as reports underscore count, followed by, I have to do the round, and then I go and call it as avg, and then I go in the e2 dot age average underscore age, and I go and call it from employee e1, comma employees, it should be employees e2, where e1 dot employee underscore id is equals to e2 dot employee underscore id, no, it should be reports to. So if I go and see the table, it should be e2 dot reports to. Group by, and it should be based on e1 dot employee underscore id. This is how it should look like, and then I should also go and say that having report underscore count is greater than 0, and I should go and set order by e1 dot employee underscore id. Let's run and see if it works. Report count, it should be s reports count. Let's go and run this. So great, my query is running. Let's try to go and click on the submit button, and I hope this should get submitted successfully. Perfect. So this has passed all the test cases. I have been able to beat 60.94% of the people who have already written the code. You can see the query here. I've written a self clause and then I've written a select clause on the top of it to get the desired results. It's a very common type of a query, very tricky, and I think this is one of the most commonly asked questions in the interviews as well. Just please pay attention here, watch this query that I have written, spend some time if you're not able to get it in the first way itself. But yeah, a very good important question, a highly likely question to appear in the interviews. Let's move to the next problem statement. The next problem statement is again of the tag easy. It's the primary department for each employee. Let's go and open the question. It's a problem number 1789. It says that primary department for each employee. So I have a table called as employee, and it is a column name called column employee ID, department ID, and the primary flag. In this case, the combination of employee ID, and the department ID is the primary key. It's a composite primary key for this table. Employee ID is the ID of the employee. Okay, employee ID is the ID of the employee. Department ID is the ID of the department to which the employee belongs. Okay, employee ID is the ID of the employee. Department ID is the ID of the department to which the employee belongs. Primary flag is an enum of the type yes or no. If the flag is Y, the department is the primary department of the employee. If the flag is N, the department is not the primary. Okay. Employee can belong to multiple departments. When the employee joins other department, they need to decide which department is their primary department. Note that when an employee belongs to only one department, their primary column is N. Note that when an employee belongs to only one department, so if an employee only has one department, then it cannot be a primary department. Okay, only if it has multiple departments, then one of the department will be the primary department. Fair. Write a solution to report all the employees with their primary department. For employees who belongs to the one department, report their only department. Written the result table in any order. The result format is in the following example. So for example, I have a employee 1 and it has a department ID 1 which is non. 2 is on 1 and 2 both. 1 is the primary. 3 department 3 and it is not. 4 has 2 and 3 and 4, and 3 is the primary. Okay, so in this case output is employee ID 1, 2 only primary, 3. So in the case if an employee has multiple departments, I should go and print his primary department. If it is not, then the only department that he belongs to, that should be the output, right? Understood? I think I have got the logic what I have to do in this table. If you guys have also got it, pause the video. As I say always, go and give it a try yourself, and once you're done it, or only if you're not able to answer the query, come back and see what I'm gonna do in this case. So let's try to go and write the query for this one. So let me take this up here. Now again, for doing this, what I'll have to do is I can go and write a union query with the same table. Let's try to see what I've done. Let me write it and then I'll go and explain you guys what I've done it here. So I can go and call it as select employee underscore ID. Then I have to have the department underscore ID from employee where primary underscore flag is equals to y. Correct. So this will get me all those employees corresponding to their department IDs where they have multiple departments and one of the department has been flagged as the primary. Fair enough. This is one. And then to this I'll have to go and add union what? Select employee underscore ID comma department underscore ID. Whenever you're doing the union, no, you have to always make sure that the number of the options in the select query remain the same and it should be exactly same. So I'm again doing the same stuff. So at the top I have these two, employee ID and department ID. So inside this also I have employee ID and department ID itself. And then at the bottom of this I go and write it as from employee. So I go and say that from employee, right, where, and I go and call it as primary flag equals to y, or employee underscore ID n, and inside this I'll go and write this query where I go and say that select employee D from employee where by group by employee ID having count, and we can pass department ID is equals to 1. So what I've done here is, if you see, I've written two queries. First of all, I have got all the queries, all the results of the employee ID and the department ID where the primary flag is 1. So this is one case in which each employee will have the different departments, department 1, department 2, department 3, and one of that will be the primary, other will be n. So this will be selected. Okay. The other is the one in which one employee only has one department 4 and this is flagged as n. So in this case, if there is only one, then I have to go and select this, right? So I go and say here employee ID, department ID, employee, where primary flag is equals to y, or employee ID in employee ID having the count of department is equals to 1. So if I go and run this, I got the answer. Now in this case, if I go and remove the first top portion and if I go and run this again, I still will be able to go and run this. If I go and click on the submit, it is still working out and I have been able to beat 96% of the people who have written this answer, right? Why? Because this y flag condition I put in the where clause itself. I don't have to write the union. You get the point. In the case if I'm writing the union, if I go and do like this, in that case I don't have to put this clause. I can just remove this and I can just try to go and run this, right? And in this case, if I go and submit, if I'm using union, then my performance is still 94%, right? Fair enough. So this is how the two solutions that we can go and write it. You can go back. That's the beauty of the YouTube. You can go and back and see what I have written in the previous solution. Fair enough. Let's move to the next question. So the next question is the triangle judgment. Let's click on this. So this question is question number 610. Triangle judgment. Okay, boss. It has a table called as a triangle and it has 3 columns, x, y and z, all of the type integer itself. X, Y, Z is the primary key column for this table. So all 3 combined is a composite key. All 3 combined is the primary key, boss. Each row of table contains the length of the 3 line segments. Okay. Report for every 3 line segment whether they can form a triangle. Return the result table in any order. The result format is in the following example. Triangle table is 13, 15, 10, 10, 20, 15. 13, 15, 30 could be made a triangle. No. 10, 20, 15 can be made a triangle. Yes. Okay. Now here the question is that based on the given 3 sides, how do I decide this will form a triangle or not? How do I go and form a triangle or not? Now in the triangle, if I have to go and form a triangle, what is the rule that we go and follow? So if you go and remember your old school days when you were learning the maths, trigonometry, right? If let's say there are three sides of a triangle which is equals to A, B and the C. If A, B and C are the three sides of the triangle, then sum of any two sides will be greater than the third side. This was the theorem that we used to learn, right? What it means that if A, B and C has to be the sides of a triangle, then A plus B should be greater than C, and B plus C should be greater than A, and then A plus C should be greater than B. If this holds true, then I can say that boss, A and B and C can form a given triangle. This is the logic that I have to go and make use of. Using this logic, please go and write the SQL query for it. Pause the video, write the query, check back if your answer is matching with the mine. So let's quickly go and write the question with this logic in mind. If you know this logic, then this question becomes super easy, right? So with this concept, let's try to go and write the query for the same. So I'll go and say that select, I'm going to write the select x, y, z from, and then I have to write the triangle, right? So I go and say that case, and I go and say that when x plus y is greater than z, and x plus z is greater than y, and y plus z is greater than x, then I should go and say that yes, else I should go and say no, and then I should end as triangle from the table triangle. Fair enough. Let's just go and run this and see if it works. There is an error. What is the error? You have an error in the SQL syntax. Check the manual. There is a manual. Make a SQL server. Okay. So I have to put a comma here also, no boss. Go and run this. It has been accepted. Let me go and click on the submit button, and my solution has been submitted also, and I'm able to beat 81.62% of the people. Now if you see the query again here, I have select x, I have select y, I have select z, and then I have this case condition. Only when these conditions are true, then I go and say that it can form a triangle. So then yes, otherwise no, end as triangle from the triangle. Fair enough. I hope this is making sense to you guys. We have been able to solve this well. Let's move back to the next question. We're going to click on this SQL 50. Consecutive numbers. It's a medium difficulty question. I hope this will require us to write some interesting SQL. So let's try to go and observe this question now. Very simple. First table it has. So I have a table called as logs, in which has a column called as ID and another column called as number. Okay, ID has integer, number is varchar. In SQL, ID is the primary key for this table. Okay, so this is my primary key. ID is an auto increment column starting from 1. Okay, ID is also an auto increment number. Find all the numbers that appear at least 3 times consecutively. Return the result table in any order. Find all numbers that appear at least 3 times consecutively. Return the result table in any order. The result format is in the following example. ID number 1, 2, 3. Return all the numbers that appear at least 3 times consecutively. Okay, so in this case, consecutive numbers is only 1, because only 1 has appeared here 3 times. Here it has appeared, 2 has appeared 2 times. So at least minimum it has to be 3 times, though it will go and return the number called as 1. Fair, that's very cool. 1 is the only number that appears consecutively for at least 3 times. Okay. ID number and consecutive numbers. Okay, so what should we do here in this case? You guys can pause the video, think about it, write the query yourself, come back and watch what I have written. But this is an interesting problem, right? What should I do? So let's try to formulate a table out of this table. So let me go and write it as with CTE as, and then inside this we'll be going to write it as select ID number, lead number over order by ID as next, lag number over order by ID as pref from logs, and then you can select distinct numbers as consecutive nums from CTE where num is equals to next and num equals to pref. So what I'm trying to do here is that first of all I'm trying to create a new CTE table out of it, right? And for creating the new CTE table, what I'm doing is that I'm saying that I'm select the ID, I select the number, and then I go and find the lead number over order by ID as next, and the lag number over the order by ID as pref. This would be order itself from logs. And then what I do select distinct numbers, consecutive nums from CT where num equals to next and num equals to previous. Let's try to run this and see if it works. Perfect. So I have been able to run this. Let me go and click on the submit. Great. I've been able to beat 73.31% of the people who have written this code. Cool. Let's try to move to the next question. I hope you are able to write this code. If not, please look at this code now. Go back, replay the content, the part of this, and you should be able to go and answer this. Let's go back to the next question. The next question says that product price at a given date. So it's a question number 1164, and this is product price at a given date. Okay, I have a table called as product. It has a column names product ID, new price, and the change date when it was changed. Product ID and the change date, these two columns together, this is my primary key. Okay, this is a primary key combination of column with the unique values of this table. Each row of this table indicates that the price of some product was changed to a new price at some date. Okay, write a solution to find the price of all the products. Write a solution to find the prices of all the products on this specific date. Okay, assume the price of all products before any changes is 10. Okay, so by this date, if it has not been changed, it will be rupees 10 itself. Return the result table in any order. The result format is in the following example. So if I go and see the table, it will say that product ID, new price, change date. So I have to look for a date. Which date it was? It was 209. It was 2019-08-16. Fair enough. Now if I go up, so on 14th, the date was changed to 20. On 15th again it was changed to 38th. On 16th again it was changed on 35. So 16 the one price will be 35. 2 was changed on 14th, and then again was changed on 1765. So 2 was still 50 itself, right? And if I go and talk about the 3, it is 18th, it was changed to 20. So before that, third price was equals to 10. This is how it should show up, right? If I go and see, this is the same thing which has been written. So 250, 135 and 310. So I've kind of understood what logic has to be written. If you guys are feeling overwhelmed that I'm not getting the logic to write the SQL, my SQL is not confident, put that into the chat. If you guys feel that SQL course will help, I'll be more than happy to go and create a course where I go and help you guys understand and write the complex SQL queries. Fair. So now let's get started with this question itself. So what I do now is, let me go and select the product. We're going to call it select product underscore ID. This is very simple. And then I'll have to get the price, right? Last price. So I have to coalesce. So we're going to coalesce. And inside this, I'll have to go and write select. You go write select new underscore price from products P2 where P1 dot product underscore ID is equals to P2 dot product underscore ID, and I'm gonna change underscore date is less than equals to, and I'm going to call it as 201908, and then I have to call as 16 order by change underscore date DSC, and then I'm going to call it as limit 1 comma, and then I write here as 10 as price from select distinct product underscore ID from products. P1. Let's try to read this and understand what we have done. So if you see here, I have the select product ID, okay, and then what I have to do is I have to get a price when the change date is equals to this one, right? So for that, what I have done there, select new price from product P2 where product P1 dot product ID is equal to P2 dot product ID, and change date is less than equals to this. Order by change the description, limit 1, 10 as the price, right? So what is the latest price? I have went ahead and selected that, and then I have to define another table, select distinct product ID from the products, and this I'm calling it as P1, right? Let's try to run this and see if it works. So if I go and click on this run, so it has been accepted. That's perfectly cool. And now if I go and click on the submit, so it has been accepted, right? So we have been able to solve this problem. Let's quickly move to the next problem. You guys can have a look at this. If you have not been able to write, please go back, watch this. That's the beauty of YouTube. You can also go back and watch the content of this. Now let's move to the next one. Last person to fit in the bus. Interesting title it has. So the question number 1204, right? And it says that I have a table called as a queue in which has the person ID, person name, weight, and the turn. Okay. Person ID column contains the unique value. So this could be the primary key itself. A table has the information about all the people waiting for a bus. The person ID and turn column will contain all numbers from 1 to n, where n is the number of rows in the table. Okay. The turn determines the order of which the people will board the bus, where turn equals to 1 denotes the first person to board and turn equal to n denotes the last person to board. Weight is the weight of the person in kilograms. There is a queue of people waiting to board a bus. Okay. However, the bus has a weight limit of 1000 kilograms. So there may be some people who cannot board. Okay. So there is a bus. This bus can only board 1000 kg. Now any people who is going inside this bus, any person who is going inside this bus will go based on its turn. So if turn is 1, then he will go first. If the turn is 3, then he will go third. And also the another challenge is that each person will have a weight. So only though that person will be allowed to go inside this bus whose weight is less than the given allowed limit of the given bus itself. However, the bus has a weight limit of 1000. Okay. Write a solution to find the person name of the last person that can fit on the bus without exceeding the weight limit. The test cases are generated such that the first person does not exceed the weight limit. Note that only one person can board the bus at any given turn. So I have to go and tell who's the last person to go and board the bus. Fair, fair, fair. So for example, in this case, this is the first person ID, and what is the turn ID? It's first. So first will go in. Okay, so down that is 250. Now turn 2 person Alex will go in. It has a weight of 350. So this turns out to be 0. 600. Then who is second? Alex is second. Third is John Cena, right? So when I go in this 400, it becomes 1000. So the person to go the last will be the John Cena, right? This will be allowed to go in, right? And that's why the answer is John Cena. Fair enough. Am I clear? Does it make sense? Cool. Okay. So now, based on this, we'll have to write the logic so that we don't exceed the weight, and we have to find which is the last person to go and board the given bus. Fair. There's, and just note it here, there has to be no optimization, right? So the person who has the higher turn will always given the higher weightage. You don't have to think too much in the direction that, hey boss, I have to optimize the weight in a bus. It's not a knapsack problem, so there's no optimization here. We have to always give the priority to the person which is a better turn, right? And that person will get inside the bus. It not necessarily has to be 1000 kg itself. What we have to only answer is that what is the last person who gets into the bus. Fair enough. So I made my logic. You guys can feel free to write, pause the video here, try it yourself, and when you're done, please come back and see if your video, if your question or your solution is same as mine, right? So let me go and write it with CTE as, and let me, so with CTE as, and inside this, I'll write a select clause. I'll go and write it as select person underscore name followed by weight followed by turn followed by sum of weight over, and I'm going to call it as order by turn as total underscore weight from Q, and then I'm going to select person underscore name from CTE where total underscore weight is less than equals to 1000, because that's what was the allowed limit for a bus. And then I go and say that order by, and I go and say that total underscore weight DSC descending order, and I go and say that limit is equals to 1. Fair enough. So what I did here, sir, if you look around on the screen, what I have done is I have defined this. I've taken the name, weight, turn, sum of the weight over the order by turn as total weight from the Q, and I've created a new table CTE, and on this I'm saying the person name from the CTE where total weight is less than 1000, order by total weight, descending limit 1. If I go and run this and click on the run, since I am doing by the descending and limiting by the 1, I'll get the person which is the Johnson. Let's say you go and submit and see if it works. And perfect, my solution has been accepted. It has passed all the test cases and it has taken, it has beaten 70.37% of the people who have written the code here. Let me go back and solve the last problem of this category, which is count salary categories. So this is a problem number 1907, count salary categories. It is a table name called as accounts. Okay, boss. And this table name has following columns: account ID, and then I have something called as the income. Account ID is the primary key column with the unique values for this table. Each row contains information about the monthly income for the one bank account. Okay. So I have this accounts table, account ID, income. Account ID is the primary key, column with the unique values for this table. Each row contains information about the monthly income for one bank account. Okay, great. If I go down, write a solution to calculate the number of bank accounts for each salary category. The salary categories are low salary. All the salaries strictly less than $20,000 are the low categories. Okay, average are between the $20,000 to $50,000. Fair. And then I have something called high salaries. All the salaries strictly greater than $50,000 are the high salaries. Fair enough. So I have these three categories: low, this is average, and this is high salary. Great. The result table must contain all three categories. If there are no accounts in a category, then return 0. Return the result table in any order. The result format is in the following example. Okay. Example 1, account ID and the income. Output is since the low salary is less than 20,000, so less than 20,000 I have how many? Less than 20,000 I have only one this. Then the medium salary is in the range of average salary in the 20,000 to 50,000. So 20,000 to 50,000 I have no, so medium is 0 and the rich is 3. So inside the low salary is 1, average salary is 0 and the high salary is 3. Perfect. I think I have understood how it has to be done. If you have been able to think, please pause the video, write your own query, solve this problem on LeetCode, and then come back and see if your solution matches with mine. Let's get started. So in this case, what we have is we have three categories, right? So first of all, let me go and find the count of the low salary category, then the average salary category, and then higher salary category. And that way we'll be able to go and union all of them, right? So let me go and write the query like this: select, and let me go and call it as low salary as category, right? Comma count star as accounts underscore count from accounts where income is less than 20,000. Fair enough. And then I go and say that union all, and then I go and pass similarly select. Let me go and call it as average salary as category, comma count star as accounts underscore count from accounts where income between 20,000 and 50,000, union all, select high salary as category, count star as accounts underscore count from accounts where income is greater than 50,000. So if you see here, I have written three queries: one for the low salary, another for the average salary, third for the high salary, and then I have taken the union of all of them. If I go and run this and see if it works. Okay, so answer has been accepted. Perfectly fine. Let me go and submit it and see if it works. Perfectly fine. So it has been fully accepted. So with this, I have been able to go and solve all the problems which is related to the advanced select and the joins. So finally, we have come to the end of the day 4 itself. We have seen so many queries around the select and the complex join. We have also seen the self-join queries. In the case if you are able to solve, great, put that into the comments. How did you like the level of the questions and the explanation? And in the case if you're finding it difficult to write the queries, put that into the comment as well, so that I can go and curate a course on SQL for you guys. I hope you're enjoying this journey. 2 more days to go, 2 more parts in which we'll go and complete these 50 questions with SQL challenge by LeetCode.